but you should start off soft and work your way in.
Casino trip, full of chips. Wanna flip, double it.
Welcome to the Full of Chips podcast, the only chips you'll never lose, where the stakes are high, the takes are bold, and the conversations are always full of chips. With your hosts, Chris, the Dice Degen, and Craig from Old Bay Craps. You're tuned in to Full of Chips, the podcast where we dive into our own experiences into the world of gambling and share stories straight from the casino floor. Whether you're a recreational gambler, a seasoned pro, or just curious what the buzz is all about, you're in the right place. Each week, we break down the games, talk to the experts, and bring you tips that could tilt the odds in your favor. So grab your lucky charm, stack your chips, and let's roll into today's episode.
What is up, everybody? Welcome to episode 43 of the Full of Chips podcast, the only chips you will never lose, with your hosts, Chris the Dice Degen and Craig from Old Bay Craps. Craig, how are we today?
I think we're in a good mood, even though the left hip has been giving me kinks all day long, including right now. So you might see me wiggling around. It's just I'm trying to stretch the leg so I can get some relief on the pain on the left side. But I'm gonna keep smiling because that's what you got to do. The show's got to go on. So I'm gonna keep smiling.
There you go.
But no, I think we have a good show.
The show must
tonight.
go on.
The show must go on, even if it's dark territory, even if it's dark subject matter. I think we're gonna get into it.
I think we're going to get into it, but Craig, before we get into the episode, we got to get into a few topics first. Number
Yes,
one,
sir.
and most important, what do you drink tonight?
This is the first for me, not the alcohol, but the mixer. This is in our lovely Full of Chips glasses. Thank you, Lou. This is Bullet Bourbon again. And quite frankly, let's just be honest, it's the only alcohol I have upstairs. So I need to get more or different kinds. But it is, but tonight it's mixed with, and you're not going to believe this, Chris, it's mixed with Cherry Coke Zero.
That sounds fire.
That sounds like ass. But, I put it, let's just say that maybe it tastes
Good ratio.
very, very good.
That's a good ratio. Tonight I'm gonna get me some Cherry Coke Zero. I had Cherry Coke for the first time in such a long time, a couple days ago, and I kind of missed it a little bit, just a touch though, because like I drink one and I'm like, all right, I'm good off this. I don't need it for a while, but I have our standard Diet Coke with Maker's Mark tonight, of course.
Oh, Maker's Mark.
Full of chips.
I kind of like
Yes.
Maker's Mark. Maker's Mark and ginger ale is a nice one for me. I've only ever had it with ginger ale, actually.
Okay.
I'd probably go with the Seagram's. I like Seagram's ginger ale probably best over
Yeah.
like Canada. Kick that Canada Dry shit out of here. It's like fake
Let's
ginger
get Canada out of here altogether. Like, honestly, what good has come from Canada besides hockey?
I don't know.
And even that, like, the U.S. owns Canadian hockey. So, like, what's going on there?
I mean, half of Niagara Falls, maybe.
I guess. Maybe. I mean, like, Canadian bacon is just ham.
That's true, but if I get bacon on a pizza, it's fucking bacon. It's not ham.
Yes. Yeah. Well, I don't want ham on my pizza. If I want ham on my pizza, I'll ask for ham on my pizza, not bacon. If I'm ordering bacon on my pizza, it better be bacon, not ham. If I want ham, I will ask for ham.
It's perfect time that the PGA Tour or the PGA Championship is this week, and it's in Philly because I've got ribeye upstairs, and I just need to buy some Cooper Sharp because I think
There
it
you
might
go.
be Philly cheesesteak weekend. And I didn't
think it might be.
like in the montage that Golf Channel showed earlier this week. They showed a Philly montage, and I don't know why they started it off with talking about cheesesteak with Cooper Sharp, but then they fucking like 3 slides later went to the fucking Cheese Whiz shit. I hate that. Cheese
too.
Whiz should never even touch a fucking bun of a cheesesteak that I'm eating. Okay.
Correct.
We all know that I like provolone on my cheesesteak, but I'm going to try the Cooper Sharp thanks to your recommendation and the fact that it's at my local deli. So I'm
There
excited.
You go. Cheese Whiz should never come out of the can. Like that.
No.
Those cans should just be lost in shipping. Like, you know how there was, during COVID and all that kind of stuff, there was like a lot of, shipping containers that were falling off boats. Like, I wish Cheese Whiz would have just fallen off the boat and like never came back around.
Cheese Whiz is just a sloppy can of a silly string. You know,
Yes, that's a fact.
it's ass in a can. Okay.
100%. And like, if you're gonna put that on your cheesesteak, what the hell's wrong with you? Like, what
I
is
don't know.
actually wrong with you? And I might ruffle some feathers by saying that, but cheesesteak does not come with cheese whiz. And if you think cheesesteak is coming with cheese whiz, I question anything that you ever put in your mouth. I question your palate choices. I question your culinary expertise. I question a lot of things about you, mainly your common sense, as well as your decision making skills.
I would say cheesesteak is probably the only meal that I will eat just the cheesesteak, cheese and steak. Nothing else. I do like to add hots, but that's the only thing I like to add to it because I like things spicy. But it doesn't deserve or need anything. You can make
That's
burgers
true.
all you can make burgers all day long and you put all the shit you want on it and stack it high. I don't give a shit. We got a lot going on. I mean, there's PGA Championship, there's the Preakness Saturday.
Yep.
More pony bets.
Yep. More pony bets. I will be watching the Preakness probably at the PGA Tour event.
There you go. There you go.
So yeah,
Well, why don't you tell the people
unless
why you're
they're done by then. But
what's happening with the PGA and the DGen?
yes, the PGA and the DGen. So for those of you who don't know, and you're not going to know this, that I'm there anyway because this is going to drop after the PGA
Right.
Championship. But I am working the PGA Championship, so I worked the Friday before, not tournament Friday, the week before that, and then Monday, Tuesday, and then I will be in attendance at the tournament Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So
Nice.
looking forward to it. It's been fun. I've dropped a lot of money in the store already.
Well,
So yeah.
when it comes to Philly, you got to take advantage of it.
Oh yeah. And that's the thing, like I will say though, I think they overdid it a little bit with the Philly stuff because so obviously you know this, people at home and I know this. PGA Championship's a major, right? So it's a huge event for the PGA Tour. The store is 50,000 square feet and like any golf brand who's any golf brand is in there,
Yeah.
right? You got obviously your Nikes, your Adidas, your Under Armour. You got Tigers brand Sunday Red. You got Johnny O, Holderness and Bourne, FootJoy. Titleist is there with a bunch of hats and stuff. Lululemon. There's other ones. I'm forgetting some of them, but there's so many options, and they have normal clothes with the Arana Mink logo on it, but then they have like some special Philly stuff.
Ah.
So the Philly stuff, I think they almost overdid some of it. But it is what it is. I didn't buy any of that stuff. Well, I did. I'm lying. I did. I didn't buy any of the clothes like that, really. No, I'm lying there too. I did. I bought a polo that has a bunch of freaking Liberty Bells on it. 'Cause that's Philly.
Way to
But no,
represent
the
your
cool thing
town.
yeah, exactly. No, I bought a head cover for my putter. It has like the Pennsylvania Turnpike logo on it. It has Rocky, Independence Hall, a cheesesteak, and something else that I'm forgetting. But
Nice.
yeah,
Yeah, I told you that
so
2030 PGA Championship comes to Bethesda, Maryland at Congressional. So I've been to Congressional twice, but it was not a major tournament when I went those two times. But
okay.
to be on the green when Tiger's putting was pretty awesome to see back in the day.
Yeah.
This is about 10
Yep.
years ago.
Okay.
Um, I can't remember if it's the it was one of Tiger's tournaments that was there at Congressional. So I'm not really up on all the names of the Tigers tournaments. Is the FedEx one of his tournaments?
No, the FedEx is like the playoffs of golf, basically.
Okay. Well, I know they play for the
He
FedEx
has
Cup,
he has
but
a couple different ones, but depends because he's changed the names over the years and stuff. So, but yeah, one of his events.
yeah. So that was pretty fun at the time. But this episode I believe drops on Memorial Day.
You're correct. It does drop on Memorial
So
Day.
thank
Yes.
you everybody for your service. Um,
Yes.
I usually spend that weekend watching a lot of military films, including Saving
Oh,
Private
there you
Ryan,
go.
which is one of my faves.
There you
Um,
go.
yeah, but we're gonna enjoy the PGA Championship this weekend. There's also the Preakness, the second leg of the Triple Crown. Unfortunately, there won't be a Triple Crown this year as Tempo, is that what it was? Golden Tempo
Yep.
is not
Golden Tempo.
not racing in the
Not
Preakness,
racing.
but
Mm.
there will be sports bets again.
Oh yes,
This
there will
time
be sports
I might
bets.
go random, Chris. I might just like close my
Yeah.
eyes and just pick a horse.
Hopefully, the research actually pays off this time, unlike for the Derby.
So real quick, what's the field? Because it's not 20, right? It's scaled down, right? For
No,
Preakness.
it's scaled down. Let me actually get the number because I don't know the number.
Put DJ on the spot.
14. 14
14.
horses.
That's still a lot of horses.
Yes. As of right now, again, we never know. There's could be some scratches and some other stuff, but only 3 horses from the Derby are in it.
Wow. Out of 20
So
horses,
yeah.
only 3 are in the Preakness. Wow.
Yep, yep. The one actually came in third. Ocelli, horse that came in third in the Derby racing. Then 2 other horses are racing from the Derby in the Preakness, and then a bunch of other horses. Obviously, there's 11 other ones that did not run in the Derby that are running in the Preakness. That's one of the things I feel like they need to change about the horse racing.
Yeah.
Because the races are in quite close succession that you rarely like the Triple Crown feat is going to be hard going forward because of how close the races are. And a lot of those horses for a big race like that need, a lot of time to recover and to also prevent injuries and whatnot. So, I wish they would change that personally, but the horse racing community probably could give less of a shit what DGen thinks, which is fair enough. But they should change it because I would like them to change it.
Yes.
That's my plea to them.
So,
There's
we said that this one's going to drop Memorial Day. But I have to say, because I'm so fucking excited, that all of you just wait, because the next interview we have is fucking choice and monumental. It's something you
oh
would
yeah,
never expect. And I am teasing this like I don't know, this is 43, so I'm teasing it 2 episodes ahead. That's how excited we are to have landed this interview. We're excited. So
oh
stay
yeah.
tuned.
Shout out Craig. Shout out Craig for landing the interview. DGen was MIA, but Craig was behind the scenes working the phones. You must have felt like you were in that Ravens front office on draft night over there.
Oh my
You
God, it
texted
felt like
me, texting the guest, like figuring out, aligning all this shit. I mean, I know what goes into it, but you must have felt there like you needed like 3 phones almost. Like I got text this
well,
person, I got text DGen.
I was in the midst of it and I'm like, God, is this what Chris deals with? Because he doesn't even let on that he deals with this shit this way. And I'm like, oh my God, like, I'm not saying it was exhausted, but eventually the interviewee and I had to get on the phone because we were texting back so much. But we started through Facebook. Like, good
Yeah,
Lord. I'm like, I don't even go on, I hate Facebook. I don't even go on Facebook. Um, occasionally I go on there once a year, but I decided like maybe 5, 6 years ago that I'm done with Facebook. It's not going to occupy any more of my time. Um, Now because of my son, I'm on Instagram more. But probably not even an hour in a week that I'm on Instagram. But fuck Facebook. Like I went on Facebook because I was like, let me try. Let me see if this works, because so many people reach out to me on Facebook messaging, and Chris, I had a message that I had not read yet, and it came over 3 years ago.
I believe it.
Uh, I mean,
I believe it.
that's how far removed I am from Facebook. And I think it's because ever since I saw that documentary called The Social Dilemma on Netflix,
Mm-hmm.
and I was like, "Oh my God, they literally tailor everything to what you're swiping, and it's
Yep.
ridiculous. And the whole purpose is to keep you swiping, and it fucking works.
It does work.
You can easily look down, and the next time you look up, 2 hours have gone by, and you're like, Jesus,
Oh yeah.
I gotta turn
Oh
this
yeah.
off. I gotta turn this off.
Yeah.
Uh,
No,
but
I agree with you on the Facebook front. I fucking hate Facebook. Like, the only reason I still have Facebook is to keep in touch to what, like, my aunts and uncles are doing, and like the like I'm just gonna say it. I'm gonna get some heat for it. The older generation is doing, all right, because us youngins over here never on freaking Facebook. Like I scroll on Facebook once a week, maybe, and I do not look at my messages. So if anyone messages me on Facebook, it's funny. I have a DGen account on Facebook. Didn't even remember that I made it. And the one day when I was switching between accounts, like my personal account and then the Full Chips account, I accidentally swiped into my DGen account, and like I had so many friend requests on there. Yes, I know I'm popular. But there was so many message requests on there. I can't tell you how quickly I switched accounts. I wanted no part of looking at any of them. So if you at home message me on Facebook, I'm sorry, I'm not answering. I'm not even looking at it because I'd rather, I don't know what, literally anything. Like
Look,
I
I'll
hate the
admit,
way it looks.
yeah, and it's already too much to look at when you open it. And I'll be honest, yeah, I probably got on there initially back in like 2009, 2008, because I wanted to keep in touch with people I graduated high school with, and that was it.
Yep.
But I'm not in touch with any of those people. I couldn't give two shits about high school. I never liked high school. My life to me didn't start until college. But if I see another fucking post about what somebody made for dinner, I swear I'm going to reach through and I'm going to take the fork and stab them in the eye. Um, I cannot fucking stand because you're posting something and it doesn't even look the way it looks in person, but you think it looks fucking fantastic. And I'm looking at it like, Jesus, I would not eat that. You
My
might want to
dog's
be
dinner looks better.
you might want to be careful. Right. Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Literally, like
I
my dog's dinner looks more appetizing than that.
I don't know, but there's plenty of people that just they live and die by Facebook. And I
They
think it's
do.
the same people that live and die by the light side. There, I said
Might
it.
be, might be. There's some folks. I mean, like I know you're a part of it. I guess I know you don't read it very often. Like I said, when I go in there once a week, I start reading the like the Caesars Facebook groups and like the MGM
Yeah.
Facebook groups and all that shit. Oh my God. I mean, the amount of time people have on their hands to like be posting in that shit. I'm like, what the hell are you doing? And then my favorite part is not even the people who are like the posts, it's the people who comment because I can be a troll sometimes. And I'm not saying I'm going to go troll in the Facebook groups because I got better stuff to do with my time, but I like to read, what people are commenting. And in some of those groups, I see the same people commenting on every post. I'm sitting here like, are you just waiting for somebody to make a post in this group so you can go reply? Like, let me tell you something. Go get a pet, go get a dog, go get something, go outside, touch some grass, go do something with your life instead of sitting on there waiting for somebody to post. And then you got to like reply right away. And most of the time, the replies are not helpful. It's something like snarky. And I'm like, what are you doing?
Is it not the same as Discord?
Yeah.
Same
All
thing.
the social media. All
I
the
can
social
tell
media. I
you
mean, like,
I have not been on Discord in 6 months.
that's good for you.
Like ever since
That's
that
good
like
for you.
I mean whenever that one story that came out that you and I were discussing that happened. I don't even know when that was. Was that in the fall? Cuz
I couldn't tell you.
I haven't been on this year. I know that.
Yeah.
I turned off notifications from it a year ago. Um, what's funny is I was just thinking because now we're into May, we're only 2 months from the first year anniversary of the start of this podcast.
Yes, we are. Yes, we are. It's exciting.
Yeah.
Very exciting.
So it's only fitting that as we get closer, we start talking about dark shit.
Dark shit, you say, sir. What are we talking about today that's dark?
We are talking about that dark side. It's not a dirty word. It's okay to play it. But first, before we get to that, we're going to talk about that first hour that you're at the casino, that first hour trap, why most losses happen early. The first hour is where most bankrolls die. I know my bankrolls died, or buy-in has died multiple times early on in my craps career, if you will. It's where discipline evaporates, emotions run the show. Most players don't lose because the table is cold. They lose because they walk in hot. They
Yep.
arrive at the table with adrenaline pumping. The moment you think nothing matters yet, you buy in for 300, you automatically spend 1/3 of it and go 96 across. You're like, the table looks good. Your overconfidence before the dice even roll. Uh, you're walking in with swagger, thinking about the session all day long. Like, man, I can't wait till I get there. I'm so ready. But the dice, they don't care. They don't give a shit about your pregame speech. Um,
That's
Chris,
true.
why do you think the first hour is so deadly to your buy-in?
So I think the point that you made with you walk in like emotional, charged up, all that kind of stuff is so on point. It's unbelievable actually. Because that is for me the number one reason why losses happen in the first hour. And I think what goes along with that is most people don't intend on going to the casino for a short amount of time, right? Like we talk about hit and run type things that we like to do at the casino, but a lot of people don't do that, right? They go and they're like,
Yeah.
"Oh, I'm going to be here for a while," right? There's no predetermined time. So I'm going to be here for a while. Well, is a while a couple hours? Shit, a while could be a couple days, depending, right? But like you said, you walk in like all eager, your emotions are flowing, the adrenaline's going, and people like to, oh yeah, I'm just gonna warm up a little bit, get into this game, a little bit. Next thing you know, you're an hour in and you've torched half your bankroll, maybe a little bit more, because you were trying to warm up, right? And what are they doing? Trying some system that they don't know, right? Maybe I'm gonna press a little aggressive, see if I get up quick, right? Just to give it back later anyway, if they do, but that's beside the point. Just a few chances. Let's take it early. They got the whole session to win it back, right? So they come in with that mentality, and you're sitting there like, shit, that first hour was costly. And it's like you said, it's that emotion. It's the kind of no plan when they go in. They're just kind of, seeing what happens. And again, they have that mantra of, well, I got the whole session. I've still got maybe 3 or 4 more hours. I can win this back, even if I lose a little bit in the beginning. But as we all know, it's a lot easier to win from a winning standpoint than it is to be chasing and come back, right? We talk about the comeback story, but we don't want to have the comeback story necessarily. It's not the worst thing in the world, but that's not where we want to be coming from all the time. And then the final thing that I think too is a big problem is the casino kind of coaxes you in, right? They
Right.
want that, like they basically encourage the action right off the jump, right? You walk into the casino, what do you see? Bright lights, flashy lights, bright colors everywhere, noise. You hear a random jackpot paying out somewhere, right? You got dealers who are, welcoming you to the game, all this kind of stuff. You got like a lot of external factors are going into it. Maybe the drink ladies coming around, right? Craps table, you're walking to it, but you got to pass by blackjack table. Boom, somebody just, hit a blackjack, they're cheering. Roulette, somebody hits a number, they're cheering. So you got all this excitement going into it, and then shit hits the fan as soon as you put money down on that table.
You're 100% because humans treat unearned money as disposable, and that's what the casinos are counting on. They know this. You're playing with fresh money, and fresh money feels fake. So when you first buy in, the chips don't feel real yet. But you haven't earned them, and you haven't fought for them. So you spend them like they're casino issued monopoly pieces. You're trying to play Park Place and Broadway when your fucking ass needs to be on Baltic Avenue and start from there. Otherwise, you might as well just go right directly to jail. Don't collect 200. Don't pay us go. Um, that was a long
Love
way
the
for a
Monopoly
Monopoly
reference.
reference, but I
I
grew up on
love the Monopoly reference. That's
well,
my favorite board game.
mine
Favorite board game
too.
is Monopoly.
Mine too. I grew up with Monopoly to the point where everybody played Monopoly until somebody got so angry that they flipped the board, and then you knew the game was over. But when I
There
played it
you
with my
go.
family, like my dad or brothers or something, it could last days. And then
Yeah, oh yeah.
when I got in college, I played the electronic version, and then I found out that they have something called immunity. You don't have immunity at the casino. Uh,
No.
but you have to realize that you're going in, and maybe they should do this, Chris. You made a good point about them. You're going in, you're automatically down, and you're automatically trying to come back. maybe you should have that mentality when you walk in and you buy in. So if you buy in for $300, $400, $500, maybe you should act like you're down 500. You had maybe you should act like you had $1,000 bankroll and now you're down 500. How would you play then? Because that's how
Yep.
you should start off.
Yep.
And I'm not saying you should start off timid, but you should start off soft and work your way in to what you really want to do. But you're right. A lot of people go in with a small bankroll and some strategy they saw on YouTube, and they're like, hey, man, this worked like 17 times at home because they only practiced, 17 times over a whole month. And, this worked so many times at the table in my house. I'm going to go ahead and play it at the casino. And what did they find out? They've lost 45, 50% of their bankroll in just one or two shooters. What are you going to do now? Now you're down. And
Yep.
it all happened within look, Chris, I've walked out of a casino in a half hour, $500, half hour.
Yep.
Literally, it's the worst feeling. It really is. But I had no plan when I went in. I was making ridiculous bets. Now that we have the years of experience that you and I have, like I've already said, I know how to win money at this game. My last part of it is I need to learn how to walk away when I'm up, which is very hard. It's not an easy discipline thing to go through, but people too many times start going to the table and emotionally they're not even warmed up. They're just going into it and just going gangbusters on the very first shooter. You haven't looked at a roll. You haven't looked at a single rail to see what's happened. Because guess what? You have no idea what happened at the table before you even walk through the casino doors. So why are you not taking the time when you first buy in to read what's happening?
Great question. A lot of people aren't. They're not. And what happens? It usually hurts them, right? It usually hurts them. They haven't, as Ed likes to say, they haven't qualified their shooters, right? They're just going all in, doing whatever they're going to do. But you need to really take time and consideration, which the casino doesn't want you to do, right? That's what smart players are going to do. Okay. We walk into a casino, right? Yeah, I may buy in immediately if the puck's off, right? I got a chance to buy in. I'm buying in. Doesn't mean I'm going to go out there and play a bunch of bets. I may grab a number, maybe two numbers, right? See what's going on. I'm feeling out the table. I am warming up, right? I'm not going to go out there and go, that horn section's looking tasty tonight. Like, let me go in there and start pouncing, trying to, get a quick couple hits. We know that doesn't happen, right? You really need to, it's like you go into a pool, right? If somebody tells you the pool is cold, are you jumping headfirst into that pool? I'm not, right? Like, I don't, first of all, I don't go in pools unless they're above 80 degrees because I don't like cold water. All right. DGen doesn't like water in general. DGen hates being wet. All right. But that's a whole thing
Different
to unpack
episode.
on another night.
Right.
That's a whole thing to unpack. DGen and his aversion to being wet. It's not that I don't like pools. I don't like the ocean. I love both of them. I just hate being wet. But we'll get into that a different night. You gotta tiptoe into that pool, right? You might go down a step first. Oh yeah, this is cold. You go down another step. All right, yep, all right, and then finally you start easing your way in. You gotta do the same thing when you're at the casino, right? You can't just go in and just go balls to the wall from the start. Most of the time, not saying all the time, but most of the time that is not going to end in your favor.
100%, 100%. You bet too big, too fast, and those bets are acting like you've already won. Like, what are you doing? That first hour is where players, they overpress, they overbelieve, they overestimate their bankroll. Like we said, what are you doing if you're buying in for 300? Why are you playing 96 across? You shouldn't even be playing a bet over $30 if you believe in the 10 times you're buying it. You shouldn't be going any more than 15 on the 9, 15 on the 5 max. But you overestimate your bankroll, you underestimate the table's ability to humble you, and you're not, like Chris said, you're not calibrated yet. You haven't read the table, read the rhythm, or you haven't read the rhythm, and you're not synced with the dice. What if you're the first person to throw dice on that table? You haven't warmed up. You just walked in. Chips were pushed to you. You have to treat it as if it's a cold table to begin with. You're the one that has to warm them up. You're the first shooter. And Chris, I think we're going to get into an episode very soon about dice tossing. So it's kind of fitting that, we're talking about you're not synced with the dice yet. Um, we'll get into that, but that's in a whole other episode. What you don't want to do is you're right now, I would say they're trying to chase the fantasy early. Like
Yeah.
there's no early heater, okay? You're not coming out. I've never been on a table where the first shooter came out and was a 50 roller heater. That's never happened. Normally the first person is a PSO, oftentimes. Uh you have to prepare for that. You know,
Mm-hmm.
obviously everyone dreams of walking up to the table and catching the miracle shooter in the first 10 minutes. It just
Yeah.
doesn't happen. If it happened often enough, all of us would fucking do and just bet like gangbusters on that first shooter. It doesn't happen.
Yeah.
So
It's
players bet
true.
like they're already in the middle of a heater, and it's like instead of the beginning of a session. You have to, because the result, honestly, Chris, the result is you burn through your ammo before the war even starts. And you have to have the
That's
war of
true.
attrition. I mean, look, have you sized up the dealers? Have you paid attention to the rails? If you come up to a table and you see that half the shooters are holding their chips in their hand, that's a sign that it's not going so well. A lot of times when people are holding chips in their hand, it means it's so small amount of chips that there's no need to actually put them in a rail. It's embarrassing to have them in a rail. So they're holding them in their
Yeah.
hand. That first
There's
hour can be
also
brutal.
there's also the flip side of that too, which I think is an interesting perspective. Where let's say you do catch a decent roll to start off your session, right? A lot of people who catch a good roll early, and I'm not talking about, life-changing roll. I'm just talking about, let's say, a decent roll, right? High teens, low 20s, whatever it may be. They get a little overconfident and a little too aggressive sometimes. And that money that they had made on that first shooter goes out the window plus half their bankroll by the time that first hour even comes, right? There's nothing worse for some people than thinking, oh, the game's easy, right? No game in the casino is easy. The casino wants you to think they're all easy. They're not, right? Yes, if you get up a little bit, you can't get overconfident and over aggressive. I've seen way too many people do this, right? Where overconfident. I mean, it happened to me at my local not too long ago. It was one of those instances where I was playing for a while. I was up and down, just kind of treading water. And then I get the dice. And I finally was locked in, ready to go, and I had a good roll. Right before I started shooting, guy bought into the table, and I hit the small, had a good long roll. Like, it was probably mid-20s or something. Guy made some money, right? He had no money in front of him by the time the dice made it back around to me. And I can tell you, it was not hours before I got the dice back. It was probably 30 to 40 minutes before I got the dice back again after I finished my roll. Why? Well, he got really aggressive really quickly, and there were short rolls after mine. And of course, on mine, he wasn't as aggressive as he probably should have been, right? But he got too aggressive too quickly and burned everything he bought in for, plus what he had won on my roll by the time the dice came back to me. That's not the situation you want to find yourself in.
Well, it's the people that, let's say they bought him for 1,000 and they're going 640 across. Like, really? That's what, if that was your plan, like we always say, if that was your plan, fucking go for it. If you're that kind of person that brings that kind of money to the casino and you want to see whether it burns or hits, go for it. But most people are not there for the 10-minute high. They're there for the long run, or they want to be there for the
Yep.
long run, or they're there for a trip. We all know, you and I know best. I mean, and best, I mean, just mean because we go on trips. If we're going on trips, we are not taking the whole bankroll down to the table on day one. That shit is parceled out over the 3 days, over all the sessions. And yes, are we willing to burn all of it? Yes. Do we want to? Fuck no. But we're willing to use portions. And even when we use portions, when we walk up to the table and we buy in, like you just walked in. You don't know what happened at the table before you arrived. Stop betting like you missed something.
Yeah.
I think they should treat the first hour like a warm up. I mean, what do you do before you go on a run? You stretch, you warm up, you do calisthenics. Stop thinking you're going to retire in one session. Because it's not going to happen. I'm not saying that you can't have a fantastic session that maybe lasted 3 hours, maybe had 3 heaters, and maybe 5 medium rolls. I'm sure it's happened. I've never been on a table when that's happened, but I'm sure that has happened. Is that the norm? Fuck no. That's not the norm. The norm is cold table is going to happen more often than a hot table, and you can't just go in blindly and just like, all right, give me 300, 6, and 8. How much did you, what was your buy-in? It was 600. Oh, so you just spent your entire buy-in on the very first 2 bets. Okay. All right. Good luck
Yep.
there, pal. Good luck there. Hopefully you're not one of them that are standing there with nothing in your hand, or you're about to reach into your wallet, or God forbid you go to the ATM and you're getting out more money, because we don't want to see that. Um, yeah, that first hour can be brutal.
Certainly can be. That first hour, I think the first hour, a lot of the time too, is what makes or breaks a lot of sessions. And by making the session, yeah, you could be up a little bit after the first hour, but even, being even or maybe down a little bit, like not the worst thing in the world. But if you torch half a bankroll in the hour, or if you torch the whole thing in the first hour, it really puts a bad taste in your mouth.
Absolutely.
You know what puts a bad taste in some people's mouths?
I absolutely know what puts a bad taste in a lot of people's mouths, and that's talking about or playing the dark side. I think it's an essential part of the game of craps. If it wasn't, why would it be part of the layout? It's part of the layout because it's
Very
part of the
true.
game. And if it's part of the game, you should be playing all of it. I know we've said before in other episodes, we're going to say it again because it's good advice. If you're only playing light side, you're only playing half the game. That is not my quote. That is Heavy's quote, Heavy Altum of Axis Craps. And I can assure you from interviews I've seen with him, he has made a shit ton of money playing this game. I haven't even scratched the surface of all his losses yet. So I will heed his words and his wisdom that if you're only playing light side, you're playing half the game. I think it goes without saying that Darkside seems to be just the worst thing that people see when they go to the casino, because they think that they're going against you. And it's like, they're not going against you. They just want to win money from the casino. And if it's a cold table, it is a dark side player's friend. It's unfortunate, but as Chris and I have pointed out in previous episodes, a cold table happens more often than a heater or a hot table or even a medium roll. And I don't want to be standing there and not play at all and just wait.
Yep.
That's not fun. That's not why I came to the casino to play. I came to play and win. So if I'm reading the table and the table starts to go early 7 out, 4 rolls, 7 out, 3 rolls, 7 out, PSO, I'm not even waiting for that PSO. I want to start playing a little bit of the dark side. Why? Because it's a good way to recoup some of your losses if you were playing light side. Um, I don't think the dark side is negative at all. It's gotten a negative connotation to it over the years, especially with many in the community. Many. But it's not being like pessimistic that, oh, well, you're just bringing the negative energy. No, bringing an attitude to the table is bringing negative energy. And if you are playing dark side, screaming out 777 is just fucking rude to table etiquette. But you're not betting against the table. You're betting against the house. And I think that there's a horrible connotation to the word dark side play. What are your thoughts?
Yeah. No, I agree 100%. And I mean, with the connotation thing, right? People, light side versus dark side. Well, what do most people call the light side? The right side, right? That in and of itself, right there, you're feeding right into that bad narrative. And I can sympathize with people as to why they view the dark side the way they do. However, it doesn't mean that the person's betting against you. It doesn't mean that the person necessarily wants a 7 to come immediately, right? Because a lot of the time, you need to be observant at the tables. A lot of the time, people who are playing dark side may not just be playing straight dark, right? There are people who are playing straight dark. There's times where I'm playing straight dark, no light at all, right? But there's other times where, sure, I have a DP out there. I also have place bets, or I have something else going on, right? When we talked to Jen, we talked about the crapsman all day strategy, right? What is it? It's a DP followed by 2 come bets followed by a DC. Earth-shattering news here. Come bets or light side bets, right? So, like, maybe that's part of how I'm playing. But the problem with people who judge the dark side is that immediately they get their panties in a twist. Immediately, as soon as they see that bet go out there, they're all like, well, this person's betting, against me. They're betting against me. Now, Craig and I have said it before. I'm not gonna shy away from it. I had no problem sniping people off don'ts, right? The people that I want to snipe, now I'm not saying I'm actively sniping them, but they're the ones who are going to be assholes about playing the don't. There are people who are assholes when they play the don't, right? They will stack chips in your way. They will, like Craig said, 7-7-7, or throw this number, oh, blah, blah, blah. Like, they're saying this shit to get in your head. You can't let them get in your head, for one. But two, they are playing the same game you are, just playing a different part of the table,
Right.
right? You know what gets me? It's hilarious. It gets me all the time. People don't have a problem with all the center action bets, even if you're not playing them. People don't have a problem with those kind of bets, but they have a problem with playing Darkside, right?
Yeah.
There's people who are adverse to playing center action. Well, do you get all mad at people who play center action like you do who play the don'ts? No, you don't. Why? Because you inherently think they're betting against you. Guess what, folks at home? Every roll ends the exact same way. There's going to be a 7 eventually. All right? Every roll is going to end. There's never going to be an infinite roll. It's never going to happen. There's always going to be 7s thrown. So if somebody wants to play that way, let them play that way. You don't have to agree with how they're playing. You also don't have to be an asshole about it, right? We all have our opinions, okay? I don't go political, but Republican, Democrat, Independent, right? You may not like one, you may not like two, you may not like one or the other. Guess what? Nobody cares, right? Nobody cares if you're playing light side, nobody cares if you're playing dark side. That's how you should have the mindset. If someone's playing dark, let them play dark. Don't celebrate when they're losing. Don't heckle them. Don't be mean to them. Why? They're playing the same game that you're playing. All right. When you start being that negative person, like Craig said, that's you bringing the negative energy. You
Right.
are feeding into that narrative. And like we said, there's a lot of cold tables. There's a lot of short rolls. That person could be making money playing the dark side. You could also be making money playing the dark side. Okay. You have to, we say it all the time. You have to have tools in your tool belt. Well, the dark side can be a tool in your tool belt because we know there's very few people who are disciplined enough to just not play on certain people, right? There's very few people who just sit there and not play rather than playing dark side or something along those lines. But you instantly get mad at the shooter who's throwing a PSO. You get a couple PSOs in a row. These guys can't shoot, blah, 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 blah. Are you mad at the shooter? You're mad at yourself. You're the one placing the bet. It's your money. You control it. The shooter doesn't control your money. Okay? If I'm controlling my money, I'm going to put it where I want to put it.
That's great. That's a couple of great points. And, correct me if I'm wrong, Chris, but the most rolled number is a
Let me think here. Let me do the
mm,
math real quick in my head. I gotta ponder all the dice combinations. 7?
7. 7 is the most rolled
7.
number. Out of all of them,
Yes.
7 is the most rolled number, has the most combinations. So you have to realize the dark side is the discipline that bets against the fantasy. Because I think a lot of people who come up to play craps have a lot of fantasy in their head, and they're like, oh man, when I go to the casino, I'm going to go, we're going to roll this, we're going to win this. And like you said, they're going to throw all this money into the prop section, which we just came off an episode about the prop section, and that's where a lot of money is lost. If you're talking about losing early and losing in the first hour, guess what? A lot of that money, I guarantee, is over in the prop section being collected by the dealers and the stick
Yep.
people because you just lost it. But look, it's the only side of craps. Dark side is the only side of craps where you don't need a heater. You don't need a hero at the table. You don't need a table to cooperate. You don't need the dice to behave, a certain way or the universe to bless you. You just need reality. And reality shows up every roll. I think that to say that or to say something negative about, oh well, I didn't win because that guy was playing a DP and he's playing dark side. He made the 7 come. No, he didn't. No, he didn't. He did not control the 7. The fact that you tossed a 7 is A, probability, and B, you threw a shitty roll. You threw a shitty toss. Or maybe you threw the perfect toss. We've seen tons of perfect tosses, Chris, that and it still ended up as a 7. We can't explain it. It just happens.
Yeah.
But guess what? The light side person, their bets come down, but the dark side player, they're collecting. They're collecting stacks.
Yep.
I have gone to a casino at my local, and I was looking around the table, and I was seeing the rails, and there was one person in the hook who I noticed over time never asked for the dice, always passed them, but he had 2 rails full of chips. And you and I both know 2 rails full of chips is a lot of fucking money. And how was he doing it? He was playing DP, he was playing DC bets, and he was playing max odds on everything. And sometimes he lost, a lot of times he won. And I
Yep.
think that's a big difference. Now, like we just said, we talked about the Atlantic City crew and Lou and Ted having back-to-back monster rolls with back-to-back ATS wins. That is rare, folks. That is some rare happening. Was it fantastic? Was it light side galore? Absolutely. But that was rare. A lot of what we see during any time we play craps, I don't care what night you go, I don't care where you buy in, the majority of shooters are going to have small rolls. It's just part of the game. It's because there's a lot of inexperienced people playing or people that just like to watch their money burn. Why not make money off of that? You know, why not make money
Yep.
off of people who you know because you observe the table and you're like, this guy doesn't know what the hell he's doing. What the hell is he doing with the dice? He's shaking and baking. Shit. DC bets. Here we go. I'm going to make some DC bets. I'm going to put them out there. I'm going to put some odds out there because this guy, I've seen him shoot 4 times and he hasn't gotten a roll over 3 rolls. So you read the table and you're like, I think the only way I'm going to win this tonight and go out a winner in this session is I'm going to have to play Darkside. And we are not talking about hybrid. Fuck hybrid. Hybrid means you're doing the opposite of what you really want to do just to hedge yourself. Hedging is not Darkside. There are different parts to both. You can do some of that with light side, you can do some of that with dark side, but overall hedging is hedging and hybrid is hybrid. It is not dark side. We're talking DP and lay bets or DC bets and odds, and you're betting that the 7 is going to roll before the point is made. And that's all it is, folks. You're betting that the 7 is going to roll before the point is made in its simplest fashion.
Yep.
I think dark side play overall is the bet that rewards you for being calm, while light side
Mm-hmm.
players need hype, they need momentum, and they need the table to stay hot. Dark side players, they just need clarity, math, and the table just to be normal. Normal wins more often than hot, okay? You're
Yes.
not rooting against the people. You're rooting for the thing that happens most often, the 7.
Yeah. And it's not to say, right, everything we said, that dark side, you don't lose playing dark side. Take it from me. I've played dark. I've lost plenty playing dark, right? Just wasn't my night. Same thing, though, playing light side. Just wasn't my night, right? You got to remember that. You mentioned something about being calm, right? The one thing that playing dark does for a lot of people, and I'm not talking about the degenerates who are going to play dark and then load up on odds, get sniped, and then, martingale bets and load up even more odds. But for the true dark player who's got a plan to play, and if this is in your tool belt, it could be a thing that could be helpful for you, is that it's going to control the volatility of the table, right? You might have a couple decent rolls and you may get sniped a couple times. Again, I've said it before on the podcast. I have a rule. I don't let you beat me twice. Okay. So if I'm going quarter on the DP and you knock me twice, that's $50 out of my rack. It's burned. It's done. I'm on to the next shooter, right?
Right.
If you're playing light side, you go 96 across and 2 shooters in a row, PSO, you just lost almost $200, right? I'm not saying you should always play dark, but if you're looking to control the volatility of the rolls, playing dark might be an option for you. Now, again, don't get degenerate on the dark side, because getting degenerate on the dark side can be a very, very quick and slippery slope. We've seen it, but it's a way to play. If you view it as a smart way to play, good for you. If you view it as a bad way to play, That's also fine. It's your prerogative. You can view it however you want to view it. But understand at least how to play that side. If you don't want to do it, that's totally fine. But don't get mad at the shooters when sevens are coming in quick succession, right? Again, it's your money. You're the one placing your bets. And Craig, when I was thinking about this, right, I was sitting here and I'm like, because it's so common. Everybody says, well, you're betting against the people that at the table. You're betting against the shooter. It's not that. You're betting against what the casino wants you to think. Okay? Listen, folks. The casino wants you to think every person at that table is a legend and they're going
Right.
to have a crazy roll. They're not. All right. And if you're on a table that has everybody around the table having a great roll, bravo, good for you. Like, genuinely good for you. I hope you make a shit ton of money. But the casino wants you to believe that playing Darkside, you're not betting against the people at the table. You're betting against that fallacy or that fantasy the casino wants you to have in your head.
You're talking about a dark side mindset. And before I get to that, I just want to say, the dark side is the only strategy where a choppy table is good, a cold table is great, a normal table is perfect, and a hot table is survivable. That's
Yeah.
the great thing about dark side play is that you can survive a hot or a heater, a hot table. You're kind of insulated with vulnerability of the table's mood swings, which can happen like somebody like menopause. You can have hot flashes at the table and then cold spells. It just happens. And I'm probably going to get flack in comments about that and I mean, no disrespect to those who are in menopause. Some of you are probably some of the greatest shooters ever to be at the table. But you're talking about a dark side mindset and what smart players know. The table isn't a team. Now, Chris and I talk about the AC crew, and yes, when you're in a crew or you're on a private table, there's a different mentality. There's a mentality that you're there for a purpose, and that is a plan. It's planned out. Who's going to be at stick left one? Who's going to be at stick left two? Who's going to be straight out? If you're not feeling it that day, don't offer to shoot. If you've been on a hot streak recently, offer to shoot. Be the one there on that strong position that you like to be at. Because why? There's a plan. And the plan went into that everybody's agreed to play a certain way at the table. That is totally different than what we're talking about. We're talking about at a normal, like at your local or a normal, like the table isn't a team. Light side players act like, they're in a group project or something. Dark side players know I'm not here to pass the dice. I'm just here to pass the test. Um, the dice don't care about anybody's mood, vibe. They just don't give a shit. But light side players can feel a heater, while dark side players feelings are how casinos get paid. you know, you made some really good points there about maybe having that mindset, and the seven isn't the enemy. It's the truth. It's what happens at a table. Every session ends with a seven. But it's like that guy that puts that meme up in like Instagram or Facebook, and it says, every session ends in a seven. Prove me wrong.
Yeah.
Prove me wrong.
It's
Uh,
true.
you don't need to be liked to be profitable. Light side players want to be part of the moment. We get it. We've all done that. We've all been part of that. But dark side players want to be a part of the exit plan. And we all want to exit with money in our pockets. That doesn't happen if you're not playing the entire game.
100%. Well said. Greg, shall we get into our what the fuck?
What the fuck?
Warning.
The thoughts and comments in the next segment may trigger you. If you are triggered, seek help from someone who cares.
So I didn't want to bring this up, but I think you're degen enough that you can handle it. Is what happened to the 76ers?
Oh, the 76ers. Horrible organization. So bad. They fired Daryl Moore yesterday, which made me so happy. I can't. So listen to this, right? This is actually kind of a funny story. I'll get to my Sixers in a second, but funny story. So I'm driving home from the PGA Tour event, right? Because I was working last night, driving home. My phone starts blowing up. I'm like, the heck's going on? Like, who's bothering me? I'm in the car. I was actually on the phone at the time.
Yeah.
And I'm getting phone call after phone call, text after text, because I have the Apple CarPlay, so like all my shit's showing up on the screen.
Yep.
And I'm getting notifications left and right. And I see Daryl Morey's fired. I was on the phone with the wife. I hung up on her so quick and called back some people that were calling me to talk about Daryl Morey. So it was fantastic. She was not too thrilled that I hung up on her.
No, at an
Sorry, babe.
FOC here, we do not condone hanging up on your wife. That's not a good thing to do. So just
No,
want to
it's
put that
not.
out there. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, it's not the best idea. But be that as it may, Daryl Moore was fired. Thank God. That's one thing that needed to be done. Joel Embiid needs to go.
Yes.
Um, Nick Nurse can take a walk too, for all I care. The process, this whole trust the process bullshit, hasn't worked for 11 years or 12 years or whatever it is. They need to ditch that process,
And
move
the
on to something
shirts.
new.
Didn't they have shirts that said trust the process on it?
Oh, they had everything. Trust the process. I mean, you could have bought literally anything that had trust the process on it because they were so pushy on that slogan. The process is no longer trusted. I haven't trusted in the process in years. I've been calling for Joel Embiid to be gone for a while, and people are like, "You're out of your mind. He's so good."
Yeah.
Listen, people, when Joel Embiid is your best player, supposedly your best player, your superstar player who plays in like 30% of your games, he can go. He can go. I don't care how good he was in his first few years. I don't care that he won an MVP. All right. Jokic has won a couple MVPs and he's still playing really good. Joel Embiid been playing like shit. He's injured all the time. I don't need him.
He did not look comfortable during the playoffs. It's almost as if
No, and like
why did you play him at all? Because they were pretty good. They were doing pretty well down the stretch before the playoffs started.
yeah, well, that I think that has to do with the appendicitis, which I'm not going to fault him because that's not really his fault for getting it. Um, Now, does he flop around a lot? Yeah. Does that help? No. But I wanted him gone years ago. They signed Paul George. Those two combined make like $100 million together. They both put up like zero effort all the time. It's fantastic. Like Paul George puts up 15 points in the first half. And then, I mean, he's building a house with brick after brick in the second half. Like, dude, what are you doing? He popped up like 16 threes. I think his last 9 didn't go in. Like, of his last 9, none of them went in. So it's like, dude, what are you doing? Stop chucking up the 3 ball, penetrate, do something. I don't know what to tell you, but they can both go for all I care. Also, Daryl Morey's an idiot, and he's a cheap bastard for not wanting to keep Jared McCain on the team because of the luxury tax. Well, Jared McCain's going to go win a chip now with OKC. So that's just phenomenal to see as a Sixers fan
Right.
because we have nobody on the bench. Like, Craig, I can't tell you how many losers are on our bench. Like, there's nobody who can come in off the bench. Like, besides Quentin Grimes, there's nobody. We got Kyle Lowry, who literally cannot play. I don't
Yeah,
know why he's even on the team anymore.
I would say Grimes is probably the only decent at best player on the bench.
Decent at best, exactly. Yeah. The other guys, I mean, like Andre Drummond, old as shit. Adim Bona, that guy fouls out in 5 minutes. Like he legitimately comes on the court and averages a foul a minute. So like he's useless. Barlow, man, whatever. Like there's a bunch of guys. It's just they're useless, all of them. And then, like I said, Kyle Lowry literally cannot play. He is not able to get on the court at all. His physical fitness or something. Like they keep telling, oh, he's a coach on the sideline. Then hire him as a freaking coach and get somebody else on the bench who can actually play.
Now, of course, like on my side, I have no affiliation with any basketball team because Baltimore doesn't have a team. Um, even though I'm a Capitals fan, I'm not necessarily a Wizards fan. But they're the bottom of the heap. What do they have? The first round
Yeah.
draft pick? They're
They got
terrible.
the first pick.
Yeah. But I followed the Sixers, the Rockets, the Spurs, and the Lakers and Knicks. All 5 of them. I enjoyed watching the basketball season, and it's going to be very interesting to see how these last 2 groups pan out before the NBA conference finals. I think once it gets to the conference finals, either people are going to have to be on their game, or it's literally going to be the Knicks and the Thunder in the finals.
It's gonna be the Knicks and the Thunder in the finals. And for everybody at home, because if you don't know, I went to school in New York, right? So a lot of my friends are Knicks fans. I hate to tell them this, Knicks are going to lose in 4.
There you
Like
go.
the Knicks are not that good. They're a fraudulent organization. They keep doing well and then they falter out in the playoffs. Lucky for them, the Sixers beat the Celtics, and then the Sixers didn't even show up in the playoffs. I mean, to get swept and then not only to get swept but lose 2 of those games by like 20 plus points, embarrassing. So
That was
lucky
surprising.
for the
That was
Knicks.
surprising that they beat the
Yeah,
Celtics, especially with
very,
yeah. I
very
mean,
surprising. But lucky for the Knicks, the Celtics weren't there. So the Knicks are going to prance their way right in because they will beat the Cavs or the Pistons or whatever garbage team they're going to play. Those are the 2 teams they would play. They're both garbage. You can clearly see how DJ feels about the East. You know what? I propose the NBA should change it and let's have like a Spurs OKC final.
I love it.
Or they're playing what, the Grizzlies? So like even the Grizzlies in there, like that would be a more entertaining final. I mean, the Knicks are not winning a game. They're not going to win a game against OKC. OKC is going to win, and SGA is going to put up 30 a game. And then my favorite, Jared McCain's going to come in and just drop 25 on them too, even though he's coming off the bench because he was a Sixer. He's going to shove it right in our faces. Love it. It's time for our top 5.
It might be time for our top 5.
Let's get into our top 5. I'm Craig. Our top 5 today is the top 5 reasons why the life of your bankroll matters more than any single bet. Me dropping some words of wisdom, I think, on some folks tonight.
Before we go into it, I just want to say every time I rewatch the episodes or watch them when they air on YouTube, I always do a little dance when the top 5 music comes on.
Oh, yeah.
I just do a little
Oh,
rock
yeah.
back and forth. It's catchy. It's really catchy. And then right when it gets to the good part, that's when our segment ends, our slide ends, and it comes back to us.
Yeah. We're going to call it the OBC jig.
There you go. The OBC jig. It
The
goes
little,
like this.
the little
It goes
OBC
like this.
jig. Yes.
There you go.
There you
All
go.
right. My top 5. Here's my number 5. A single bet is a snapshot. Your bankroll is the whole movie. Every bet is just one frame. Your bankroll is the plot, the character arc, the rising tension, the redemption. Smart players don't chase moments, they protect the narrative.
Love that. Also, side note, we can tell you watch movies. It's almost like you have a degree in film or something.
I should.
But you should. You would pass that with flying colors. All right. My number 5 is a preserved bankroll gives you a multitude of options. Money in front of you and available to you gives you flexibility. You can wait for better opportunities. You can reduce your sizing when there's bad runs. You can stay patient when there's those bad runs. And like we've said, you can leave ammunition for another day, right? You may lose the battle. You don't have to lose the whole war. No bankroll, you've lost the war.
True words. True words. You said that before in another episode. I like that.
Yep.
All right. My number 4. One bet can be lucky, but a bankroll needs strategy. Anyone can win a single roll or catch a random heater, but only disciplined players keep their bankroll alive long enough to let skill matter.
There you go. I like that one. My number 4 is the casino wants you focused on that next bet, not the multitude of bets that are coming after it. They want you to focus on that one big hit or the hot shooter that's potentially starting, or parlay that, press this. Why? Because it increases your volatility. If you're focused on just one singular bet, you're probably going to overbet. You're more likely to go on tilt. The disciplined gambler is going to think like a risk management type strategy as opposed to someone who's hunting for adrenaline all the time.
100%. 100%. All right. Number 3, the bankroll is the only thing that gives you options. Options are power. Options are control. Options are the difference between I'm stuck here and I can pivot, adjust, or walk. A single bet can't give you that. Only a healthy bankroll can.
Yes. That is very true. My number 3 is single bets and narrowly focused on your bankroll creates emotional decisions. You can press emotionally, chase losses, force action, may get a little undisciplined. If you're focused on your entire bankroll, you're more inclined to make better betting decisions. And most of those disastrous sessions that you hear about start with one bad bet.
And I think I can attest to that particular number in your top 5 too often. And we're gonna learn from that.
We're gonna learn. You
We're
gonna
gonna
learn
learn.
today.
My number 2, the bankroll is your emotional buffer. When your bankroll is alive, you think clearly, like Chris just said. When it's dying, you panic. The bankroll isn't just money, it's your mental stability, your decision quality, and your ability to stay rational instead of reactive.
I like that one. I like that one. My number 2 is your bankroll is your time in the game, right? Your bankroll is your total time. One bet is just a moment in that snapshot of time. So if you have a bankroll and you're careful about your bankroll, you have more decisions. You can withstand variance and you can withstand the emotional swings. If you're focused on the one bet and that one moment, you're more inclined to make those bad decisions, introduce even more variance, and get those emotions tilting very, very fast.
I think your number 2 kind of goes into my number 1. My number 1 is a single bet can end a session. Your bankroll can build a career. One reckless bet can kill the night. We've been there. Protected bankroll can fuel years of stories, heaters, comebacks, and lessons. The bankroll is the long game. The bankroll is the legacy. It is the only thing that actually matters.
I love that one. I love that for number 1. My number 1 is good bets lose very often. So if you're focused on that single bet, it could be the best bet you think. Doesn't matter if it's mathematically the best bet or whatever you're feeling at that moment. Every wager can lose. There's nothing that's guaranteed. So even if you are the math guy, pass line with odds, yes, the math is solid on that. Guess what? The 7 still shows up and you lose that bet. If you're not focused on your bankroll, normal variance is going to wipe you out before the math has actual time to work.
Excellent point. I think that's going to go into next episode, which I think the topic probably should be retitled as the best dice roll is the worst outcome.
I
we
like that one.
we've
I
seen it
like that
happen.
title.
We've seen it happen too often.
Yeah, we have. All right, Craig. Great top 5 list. What is our tip of the episode?
All right, our tip of the episode is detach from the table's emotion and unlock your dark side advantage. When you stop absorbing the table's chaos, the cheering, the panic, the one more hit energy, you finally see the game for what it is, not what everyone wants it to be. Emotion belongs to the crowd. Clarity belongs to you. The moment you stop riding the table's mood, swings, that's when your bankroll stops bleeding.
Love that tip. Sums up our episode very, very well. I enjoyed this episode, Craig. Hopefully the folks at home also enjoyed this episode. If you need to find us, email fullofchipspodcast@gmail.com. Full of episodes on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts. Short form content on YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, and our very loved Facebook. Don't forget,
You had to throw that in
join the
there.
Patreon. I had to throw it in there. Don't forget, join the Patreon down below. And Craig, take us out on episode number 43.
The dark side wants you calm, cold, and keeping your bankroll alive. So detach, flip that switch, and let the suckers donate while you stay full of chips.
On the